Hello and most lovely good evening, good night, good morning, depending on where you are watching us from. My name is Dr. Q. I'm the founder of the Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. And this evening, we are very honored to have 3 seekers with us who have had a reading done through our institute over the past few years. And as we received so many questions from you, we thought the best way to learn about what palm leaf readings are is to talk to people who already had a reading done. Don't believe me, talk to people who have done and learn about the impact. There's a little bit of an echo somewhere. I hear myself in this, but anyway, so talk to people who had a reading done and see if that is something that might help you too. Today we have 3 guests and I'd like to quickly introduce them. It's Wendy out of California, Dave and Gigi out of Arizona. Hello and good evening to you. May I go? Good evening, good evening. I guess maybe start with Wendy, a quick introduction and what was the reason why, just the reason why you thought you wanted to get a reading done.
Hi. So as Dr. Q said, we're all seekers, I think, and I'm a seeker. I've been on the metaphysical, spiritual, personal growth journey basically since 2002, since I found it. I didn't know it existed. And I heard about the palm leaf reading long ago, and I heard that you have to go to India to this special place, and they have to look up your leaf, and it's a whole thing. It's an ordeal. You've got to go there. And I thought, well, next time I go to India, I'll do that. But I'd really love it if I could do the palm reading not in India. So one day I was at the Conscious Life Expo, which is one of my favorite things to do. It happens once a year in Los Angeles. And Dr. Q was standing there and I saw his booth and it said palm leaf reading. And I said, you mean I can do this and I don't have to go to India? And he said, yes. And I said, sign me up. So that's what brought me to palm leaf reading. I was so excited to do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was it like one specific reason or was it just a general curiosity? Or was there one big challenge that you were facing and you really wanted to know more about it?
No, there wasn't a big challenge. It was just on curiosity. My spiritual bucket list. It was something I absolutely knew I would do one day, and you made it easier. So thank you. And cheaper.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, much cheaper. Correct. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Dave, how about you?
Well, I was a civil engineer and pretty much a rationalist, atheist for about 30 years. And a couple of years ago, made a switch and I was going through some hard times and decided to try something different. And I saw a Cherokee medicine woman and she helped me a lot. And I said, wow, like there's something else here besides black and white engineering, you know? So I think I was watching a video with, I think you were interviewed by Gail Thackeray, I think.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. So I saw that on YouTube and it was kind of intriguing. And I said, well, I need to try that. I was pretty skeptical. I didn't really think some gurus thousands of years ago could possibly know anything about me today or, you know, but all the stories that you were telling and a lot of the other people were saying, you know, that they knew your parents' name and your siblings and all this. So it was just a general curiosity, you know, I guess as far as, you know, I guess I'm seeking to try to understand reality and consciousness and how this all works and why we're here. And this was just a part of it. So I didn't really have a specific question. It was just more of a general, like, could this possibly be true?
Yes, I understand. I totally understand. Yes, sure. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. And Gigi, how about you?
Well, I had a couple of friends, fellow travelers. I met during one of my travels in Europe, and they told me that they had a reading done by Indian palm leaf reading, and of course I heard it from you too. So that was 2018. So it took me a year to decide to do it. I was mulling it all the time. Should I do it? Should I not do it? So February of 2019, no, February of 2019, yes, I went to the Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles, and I went to your booth, and I decided to do my palm leaf reading. I said, okay, I'm all in. So I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and I haven't heard if my bundles were found or anything. It was around April. I got a text from you or an email from you saying, hey, Gigi, are you available on this particular Saturday night, blah, blah, blah. And I said, sure. Now I'm going ahead of myself here because there, you know, I have to say, how did I feel about
You know,
the first time I did it?
we'll talk, Gigi, we will talk about that in a moment.
Okay,
I just wanted to see,
so
was it
anyway.
curiosity? Did you have a specific issue that you wanted to
Yes.
have resolved? Yes, you did.
I knew I had some health issues,
Okay.
and I was worried about my future. I want to know. I mean, I know I'm a big girl. If there's something wrong with me, I can do something about it. And so I decided to do it. And
Okay.
the results are fantastic.
Okay.
So
Thank you. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. I mean, I know why you wanted to get a reading done, but I wanted you to share it with the audience out there.
Yes.
So we'll dive deeper into it. So we have two people in this call who are just curious to see if it works, if there is a palm leaf written for them or not, and Gigi, who actually had one specific burning question, and that was a health-related issue.
Yes.
Correct? Yes.
Correct.
And mine, you know, let's say I'm also in this panel. Mine was karma. My driving force was karma, to have my karma cleaned, as it's related to health too, because I get sick way too many times. So I realized I was thinking it might have something to do with karma, and I heard that through a reading you can get your karma cleaned. And that was my motivation to get a reading done. So you see, there are many different reasons why a person is drawn to a palm leaf reading, from sheer interest, curiosity, to karma, to health, to whatever. Really, the bandwidth is limitless. Why you're drawn to get a reading done. So now that we've established why we were drawn to it, let's share your how you felt, because I remember how I felt when my matching started. I still remember it, and that's now 7 years ago when I had my reading done. It's quite some time ago. I still remember how I felt when the whole matching process started. So maybe you can share with us too. What was it, if you remember it all? I don't know how you felt when this whole thing started. Was like, that's all nonsense, super excited, scared, you know, all sorts of different emotions go through a person's mind. And maybe you can share with the audience. That would be fantastic. Let's start with Wendy again.
Hi, do you hear that music? Do you want it on?
Is there music? No, rather not, because it interferes with... Oh,
so no. You don't have the music?
I can
I don't know where it's coming from.
I don't have music. No, I do not have music.
Okay.
But I can hear music now. I can hear the music. I thought it's you, but it's not.
Not me. I hope.
Is Dave? Is music on your end?
No, it's not me.
Gigi,
No,
is there music on your end?
No, it's not me.
Bizarre. It's Wendy, it's you maybe. I don't know.
I don't have that music on my computer. I don't. Okay, should I just talk, or should we figure that out?
No. Let's just talk. It's okay.
Okay, so I do remember my matching very well. And I was trying to understand those guys, because there's the translator, you know, there's the guy who's translating the palm leaf from ancient Tamil, and then there's the guy who's translating that to regular Tamil, and then Embassy is translating to English. I think that's how it was going. And I was just trying to pay attention so carefully, because it's a lot. And whatever those guys, or maybe one of those guys were speaking English. He was translating, the one of the guys, but his English.
The reader only speaks Tamil, and then next to him sits the interpreter who interprets Tamil into English, or rather Hinglish, heavy accented in English, correct? And then we have we as a service, our institute has a third person in the call, a Western person. We call them moderators, and the moderator's job is to make sure that you understand the Hinglish, you know, the Indian English. And if you do understand the accent, you might not understand the meaning of the reading itself. So their job is here to listen to you, guide you, and translate one more time in case there is a language barrier or an intellectual or spiritual barrier. If you might understand the interpreter, but not necessarily what the message is. So yeah, so there is a moderator on our end. Go ahead, Wendy. I just wanted to make sure that we know the flow. But yeah.
Sure. So I was really trying to pay attention, and it was surreal. It was amazing the way they kept coming up with things and getting close, and it's so exciting. It's so amazing. And then there's that stack of leaves, and we were getting down low, and I think there were 3 stacks, and he went through, maybe it was on the 3rd stack that he found him. So, you know, there were times when I was like, what do you mean you're not going to find my leaf? You know, like, it's got to be in there. And then when they did find it, it was so exciting. And I remember they started telling me things once it was verified. And they said, you know, I always remember they said, your father's name, Donald, and my father's name was Donald. And this is 5,000 years ago. I don't think they were naming people Donald in India. So that was darn close. And then they said, your mother's name, Malin, and my mother's name was Marilyn. I'm like, that is good enough. That is amazing. So yeah, the matching it's really pins and needles, and it's very exciting.
It is. Yes,
so what if we each try to mute and see if the music's coming from one of us?
Sure. Can you mute quickly?
I'll mute me, and you'll see if it's gone, okay?
Yeah. Yes, it is you. It is you. Now you're muted, so we can't hear you. But the music comes from you. It's you. Yes.
Okay, I'll look for it.
Yes, no worries.
Because when I muted, I still had the music. Okay.
Yeah, because it's you, but I didn't hear it anymore. So if you mute yourself now, you can mute yourself now, Wendy. You can mute yourself.
All right, I'll just.
And then we can.
Okay, I'll mute and I'll.
Yeah. Yes. So Dave, how about you?
Yeah, it was kind of exciting. I mean, I was a little worried that they weren't going to find it. Same thing. I think they had 3 books, and it was the last one. You know, and there was a couple times it was pretty close, and they would ask 5, 6 different questions, and they were all right, and then all of a sudden, wrong. So you're thinking, well, there's somebody pretty close to me, you know, with just
absolutely
one slight variation. But yeah, it was kind of surreal, really, when there's somebody reading something that was written that many thousands of years ago, and they've got your parents' name and how many siblings you have. My 2 daughters, they knew whether my relationship was good with my siblings and with my parents. So, you know, I guess some of the people, I've seen some people before say, oh, you could find all this stuff on the internet. No, I don't think so. You can't find out whether, you cannot find out, you know, what my relationship is like with my parents and my brother and my children. So
yes,
I think right then it clicked in like, wow, this is real. This is, you know, they knew stuff that no one could possibly know.
Yes.
And I believe the other thing that was real kind of amazing to me, and they said, well, your spiritual leader is Sadhguru, and that's who I follow in India. So
wow,
that was pretty amazing too. So yeah, it was kind of, it's a little intense, I think, because you're trying to answer these questions and you're trying to understand things, and the questions aren't things you're used to being asked about. So it's a
Yes.
little stressful almost, in a way, I think. For me, it was
Mm-hmm.
trying to get the right answer, because you're thinking, well, if I answer the wrong answer, maybe they're going to miss my lead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I understand. I was in the same shoes. I understand.
Yeah.
I remember. I remember very well. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe Gigi, can you tell us?
Yes. So when I got an email from you or a text from you saying if I'm available that particular April night, so I said sure. So I was kind of nervous because I don't know what to expect. I have never
Mhm.
seen a reading. Now there's one on YouTube, how the reading goes.
Yes.
Have no idea. It's just, you just have to answer correct or incorrect. So here I am. I'm a teacher, so I know how to do that. So I have a degree in biology. I am an empiricist. I have to see the proof. I have to touch it, to smell it, to taste it, you know. And then here comes palm leaf reading. And as the questions were being asked, I said, oh my God, is this any of these letters in your name? I said, correct. Were you born between this and this? Correct. I go, oh my God, he knows what questions to ask. So it's like, it's very systematic, question after question after question. And then the Maharishi in the back was going through my bundles. But thanks to you, Dr. Q, you were able to interpret some of the questions that I couldn't understand, kind of trying to let me know the correct answer, like what does the question really asking me.
Mhm.
So, but in the end, I didn't get a match. So I was sad. I was frustrated. I said, oh no. So you said, don't worry. We will keep on looking for your bundle. A week later, we have the reading again. Well, this time I know what to expect. I'm not nervous anymore because I know the questions that will be asked. You know, how many siblings you have between this and this. I said, sure. The reading even revealed that one of my siblings passed away. And it also revealed that my parents are both dead. And my husband passed away too. So I said, oh my Lord, how in the world 2,000 years ago, everything about my life is embedded in those bundles. And it's just amazing. And so I was so happy. I was really crying when you said we got a match. Okay, you take a little brief rest. Are we gonna go proceed with the reading next time? Oh my God, what a relief! I said, well, at least I'm in. You know, I was identified. This is your name. This is your father's name. This is your mother's name. Unbelievable. I mean, I'm a biologist. Come on, and I go, oh my God, this is as perfect as you can get. I was really happy in the end. But I didn't know what the reading will tell me. So that comes next.
That comes next. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Well, since that was the matching process, obviously the matching process, I sometimes say it's like the wow part or the exciting part, because you can the seeker, you can verify it. If somebody, a stranger, complete stranger, an Indian guy in a village in southern India, who has barely left a 100-mile radius of his village, all of a sudden tells you these things, it's mind-blowing. I mean, I couldn't wrap my head around it. So the matching is like the wow thing. And then they find your palm leaf, and it's like, oh my, there is indeed a palm leaf for me. I remember, I just couldn't believe myself. And so once the matching happens and your leaf has been identified, then the reading starts. Now, my question to you is, how did you experience the reading, and how accurate was it? Did it reveal something to you that now when you look back, you're like, man, wow, this was this was important for me to hear and learn. So let's talk about just the reading and your emotions, what you learned, how accurate it was, and yeah, and then we will continue. So maybe Wendy, if you unmute yourself and share with us your reading experience.
So my reading, it revealed things to me that I didn't know were going to happen. I think that I don't use it. It's been a few years or a year since the last one, and I don't always rely on that information. Although I look back and try to figure things out. There wasn't a lot in there. It basically it explained so many things. Like you'd use your thumbprint, and there's 4 quadrants of your thumb, and I think the quadrants are like family, relationships, education, health. Do you know? I'm sure you know what they are.
It's a general. Every thumbprint has a name. So you're now talking about the first part of a reading, that is the general reading, explaining your thumbprint name, which is very important. Each thumbprint carries a name, and depending on your thumbprint name, they can then go and find a bundle, and the bundle is always has only people or leaves in it with the same thumbprint name. Whether female or male makes no difference, but everyone in that bundle is a soul brother, soul sister. That's the reason, Dave, why they were like similar lives, and you're like, oh, close, but not me, because everyone in that bundle has the same thumbprint name. And on top of it, a thumbprint has dots, usually 3 dots, and rare occasions 4 dots. And these dots are like areas of life or mini universes within your life. And each one of these dots represents one aspect of your life: health, education, career, kids, grandchildren, family life, and so forth. And they will, in the reading, the reader can tell you if these dots are blessed dots, or if there's a block on them, mediocre, whatever. And so this first part of the reading, the general part, just talking about your soul and your thumbprint name, gives you a good indication about you as a soul. It does. Each word in your thumbprint name means something. And obviously, there's a difference between your name has the word rose in it versus water lily. Obviously, rose is beautiful, smells well, but it has thorns in it, and a water lily floats. So all these symbolic parts within a reading gives you a good indication about your life and your soul in general. That's like a genetic stamp. That's it. You were born with that. But going back to you, Wendy, I just wanted to make sure that to explain what it is that you're referring to. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Thank you, because I didn't have the categories, but I remember that I have, of the 4 quadrants, 3 of mine were great, which is wonderful.
Amazing, yes, wonderful.
And
absolutely.
the relationship one, not so good. And so they offered a puja for that, which is great to help me. But it was so freeing to know that just because, my marriage didn't work and I don't have a relationship, it's okay. That's my weak link. It's all right. Mm-hmm. And then, it went on, and there were certain things like my daughter and our relationship, because relationships are weak for me, hadn't been good. And they said that there was a planet that was blocking her and she couldn't find me. And so we couldn't have a good relationship at this time. And then they said that would lift in September, which it did. So it was just so freeing to learn things like that. That was great. And I did refer to that, and I did relax about the relationship with my daughter. I'm like, yeah, oh, well, there's a planet blocking us, but in September it's going to lift. So.
And it did lift.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Cool. Thank you. Dave, how about you? I know your reading is the most recent one, but still, it's a few months, so maybe you can see something.
Yeah, I think the same thing with the 3 dots. Those were right on. My health was really good. financially, I'm really good. And relationships was really weak. And so they didn't really have to tell me that, but I guess it was just more confirming, that
Yeah.
this is on track.
Yeah.
So far, yeah, it's only been a few months. So, I mean, I'm figuring this stuff is all true because, I mean, how could they be right about everything up till now about, my family and my history and everything and not be right about the future? So, um, I guess in a way, there's some things that's a little scary. Like my parents are elderly, uh, 85 and 95. And when they
Wow.
tell you that they're going to have, that my father's going to have a life-threatening event in the next 2 years, I mean, it's kind of scary in a way, but then again, it's making me say, okay, I need to go visit them more because they're pretty far away and I don't get to see them that much. So, obviously when you're 95, you're not going to live forever. So it is, but it still is a little, I don't know. I don't know what the word is, but it just makes you think, is there free will? Is this stuff all planned? Can I affect any of it? And apparently with the pujas, you can change some of the weak energies, like in
You can.
relationships. So I'm doing all those. I'm almost through the last one.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
definitely not taking my chances on, like, if you're telling me all this stuff so far is true, and you're telling me that I can, help my relationships with my daughters, that I can possibly influence the end of a life from my parents, maybe make it a better transition, or that I do all these pujas. Well, I'm doing them, and I'm doing the extra ones in India. The
Okay.
besides the
Yes.
one that I'm doing on my own.
Yes.
I would say the only other thing that's probably already come true, and I was separated from my wife at the time, still am. And then they said after July, it was going to get much more difficult to have a relationship for the next year and a half. And yeah, it was just like a few days before July, she gave me a letter. So it kind of didn't really help our relationship right now. So,
Yes.
but I guess I'm holding out. I'm like, all right, well, I'm in a year and a half. It says that things will be improving. So, but that's really the only one that I've had so far in a couple of months that, I would say is somewhat come true. I guess the other thing, I'm trying to understand more about this, and there is very little online. There's very little information.
There is, I know.
I did find an interesting fact that's you would probably know if this is true, but it said that after 2015 that there weren't any more leaves for people. That was in
No,
another broadcast.
not 2015, because it's already passed.
Yeah.
It's there are 4 time periods, I guess, according to the system, and we're in the yoga part, which is we're in the tail end of a 4-part system that repeats itself all the time, and now we're in the very last one, which is the dark part, and there is only 2 generations left. About 60 years from now, they say that we are entering again the beginning of the cycle, and each cycle lasts a few thousand years. Once we enter the light period, then people do not need guidance anymore because they're enlightened from within. So Saga has it, that's in about 60 years from now. So that's about 2080-ish, because, it's not super precise, it's a guideline. Leaves will disappear or will blacken or so. Who knows? I do not know. But that's what our senior readers keep saying, as these leaves were written by the Maharishis to guide us through this dark period of a couple thousand years. So we have guidance. That's what I can tell you, what I've learned by speaking to our readers. But I wanted to step in here quickly because Dave said you were wondering how much influence we have over our lives, and indeed, a reading gives you a likely trajectory of your life from the moment you get the reading done, based on your overall energies, not your mood at the time of the reading, your energies. And it's a likely trajectory based on your energies and until you die. Now, it's very important for me to emphasize it's not set in stone. It's not. The person who actually creates the reality is the person himself, herself. A reading is here to give you a guideline so you can turn left here or right, or you can straight. But nobody's holding a gun against your forehead saying you have to turn left here. It's still you. You have free choice, free will. You may take the guideline on board, or you can toss it and say that's all nonsense. It's still you who makes a decision. So it's very important for me to tell you that it's not set in stone. I do not believe in that our lives are written down and that's it. I don't think so. I do believe that we were sent to as souls. I totally believe in reincarnation, and that we're souls with a stamp, like that's your starting point, and then go and first of all learn how to deal with it and make the most out of it. So when they talk about the 3 dots, that this is your genetic makeup, if you wish, your soul makeup, and then the rest is up to us to overcome it. So we can work on changing the energies. Hence you do the pujas, because we talk about pujas, and we'll talk about it a little later too. Pujas is homework, literally means prayer. And all that it does is it shifts energies. So if you believe that everything is energy, like a relationship is energy, making money is energy, health is energy, or rather energies that are off, not in flow. So all we're trying to do by and through these exercises, either you yourself at home or a priest in India, is to change the energy. And once you change it, obviously, hopefully, it will also change the reality that you're in, meaning you improve the relationship, you improve health, you improve your income, and this and that, the other. So that was just quickly 2 words on whether our destiny is set in stone or not, and what pujas are, because I think it's very important. Many people are scared, thinking, oh, I cannot get a reading done because then they will tell me my life and there is no influence that I have over it. No, it's not true at all. It just gives you a guideline, and the person who makes it reality is you out there. That's it. Gigi, I know you've been anxiously awaiting for your turn, so you can share with us your big story. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my turn.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. When Jean started reading my reading, yes, he started with what kind of foods I have to eat, suggestions, berries, exercise, blah, blah, blah. What's wrong with me? I already know I have high blood pressure. Can you imagine that?
Gigi,
that
your internet
reading.
is very bad. Gigi, your internet is very bad. You're stuck. You're stuck, Gigi. I think you're in Wi-Fi. You should be plugged in. Would have been much better. Okay. I cannot really hear you. Gigi. Oh my, Gigi's gone. Bless her heart.
Mute.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yes, Gigi.
I had to check something. So
yes.
You can hear me?
Yes, much better now. Go.
Okay.
You're live.
So, I'm live.
Yes.
I'm alive.
No, you're live. Like people are listening
Oh,
to
I
you.
know.
Mhm.
So Sham was saying, mentioned some of my health issues, and they were pretty accurate. But he was saying that I should not also neglect important, like health screenings every year, you know, the usual mammogram, blood work, like an annual checkup. He told me, he suggested I have to continue doing that because that's part of my health, my good health. And everything else that was in the reading was really accurate. So what happened was, of course, and he recommended pujas that I have to do. So lo and behold, August of last year. So I had my reading April, 3 months. 3 months late, well, 2 months after that. I never had my mammogram done since 2009 because of the guidance that was given to me about health screenings. I went ahead and did my mammogram. And on August 2nd, I was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. So it's like, if I did not do the reading, if I did not do if I didn't do my left thumbprint, I didn't get the reading. I had 2 types of cancer, the invasive kind and the non-invasive. I would probably be not talking to you right now. I would probably be like dead by now. So it was amazing that I went through my cancer journey. It was a very, I was so lucky. I guess the pujas helped, because some people, when they have cancer, they're devastated. I sailed along through mine. I had the diagnosis in August. I had my chemotherapy in September. I only had 4 treatments. The last one was December 5, and I am now in remission. And I just had my mammogram the other week, and it was negative. And all my genetic markers are negative. So it's like, I am so grateful to Palm Leaf Reading for giving me another gift, the gift of life. And also in my readings, you know, they tell you in increments of 3 years, on this particular age, this is what's going to happen to you. It went on all the way to 86. So I go, oh, maybe I'll go live up to 86 years old, because that's where the readings stop, up to there. So it gives you guidance. But the most important thing is, if I did not do it, I still would have skipped my mammogram, and I'd probably be dead by now. So because of the reading, it guided me. My life trajectory is probably telling you, girl, you need to go get your mammogram done. You have not done it in 10 years. And because of the Palm Leaf Reading, I said, let me go ahead and do this, because I need to eat healthy. I need to take care of my health screening. And I did. And guess what? I had cancer, and now it's gone. I mean, I lost my hair, so I'm still wearing a hat, because my hair has been growing, but it's not like the original one. And so, but I have no pain, no side effects, no nothing. It's like amazing. And you know, I also had some pujas done in India through the institute facilitated my reading, my pujas in India. And I guess that helped all roll together. And that was all. There was part of that puja was the soul releasing ceremony for my dead parents, my late husband. That was part of the puja that they did in India. And the puja that they have to do over there is 108 days. It was 108 daily puja that they have.
Thank you, Gigi. We don't want to get too much into technicalities here, but I just wanted to thank you for sharing your story about your health issue, which I know it's quite amazing that a year and a bit ago when I saw you. You had no idea, and then you had the reading done, and then boom, it prompted you to go and get a health check,
Yes.
which ultimately saved your life, because without the reading, you would have never gone
Oh, no.
ahead and had another mammogram done. So I'm grateful that you're here with us still and that you followed the advice. Again, you followed the advice. You could have also said, nonsense, forget about it. Why should I do it? It is, it's always the person who creates the reality for one. I always take 100% responsibility for my life, because if not, then I'm just a puppet, right? So
Yes.
I am a true believer that it's me who creates my reality, and it's whoever who creates their reality, period. So thank you. So in your case, a major thing, I should say. And
Yes.
I also had cancer quite some time ago. And so my health has been impacted since, because the therapies, we're talking over 30 years ago, were not as advanced as they're now. And so I got sick also 7-8 years ago, also ICU sick. And that's when I thought it must have to do with karma. So I had, to me, the most important thing was, can I clean my karma? Because the last thing I want is being back in hospital. And good news is I haven't been in hospital since my reading, because again, the reader told me, you got to do your own puja. This is called temple puja. That's your homework. That's your doing. You got to do something. And then I also did the so-called temple puja, something that's a mantra puja, something that the priest does for you in India. So that's 7 years I've been to hospital, hospitalized, and keep my fingers crossed. It will stay that way, because I've been in hospital for way too long, and no desire to go back. Going back to Wendy, how should I say? So now that you've had the reading done, has it helped you through the past 2, 3, 4 years? I know the first reading, because you had actually 2 readings done. I know that too. Me too. I also had 2 readings done. So a question that we had that somebody just asked us is there only one palm leaf, or is there more than one? And can you have more than one reading done? So allow me to answer that here and now. Yes, you can have more than one reading done. Simple reason being, there is more than one Maharishi who wrote palm leaves. Maharishi is translated means great sage, Maha, great, Rishi, sage. And there were 18 of them in southern India that wrote palm leaves, 18, 1-8. And if you're lucky, then each one of them wrote one for you. So which means you can have 18 readings. You could, in theory, but for each one of them, you have to start a new search, submitting a new thumbprint, give it to the reader, and then he will start a search, knowing that you already had the first reading, which usually is a reading that was written by Maharishi Agastya. He's like the generalist of them all. And if you see I already had a reading done, then he would look into different archives and different sections of archives of where other readers, other Maharishi's books are kept. And then, so yeah, I had 2 readings, and my second reading basically confirmed my first reading, but it might be of interest to the audience and to you too. And Wendy, maybe you can share your experience as well. It's not it's not like a total different thing, because you are the same person. So I must say the few things that I took with me after my second reading is I'm still the same person. So it confirmed a lot of things in my first reading, and you need to know that the reader of my second reading is not the same reader of my first reading. So total different readers, and yet there were similarities. So I can trust in their authenticity, but I can see a change in my trajectory. So what in my first reading were like obstacles and issues, in my second reading, they were different. So the trajectory had changed. I did the pujas, I put my heart and soul into this, and there are changes. I'm still the same person, but an improved person, an improved life. Just one quick example is in my first reading, my reader told me, between 77 and 79, I get a heart attack and die. Now, I went and got a reading done because of a virus that 7-8 years ago impacted my heart, and it almost killed me. And so if a reader, when the reader told me I'm going to die of a heart attack, that makes the most sense to me, to be honest, because my heart is impacted and it's weak, and also because of chemotherapy and radiation and stuff that I got 30 years ago. And but he says, you can improve your life and lifespan if you did the pujas, which I did. And then in my second reading, that was 4 years ago, don't shoot me, I'm not so sure, a few years back, he said, oh wow, you've been given the gift of longevity, meaning it goes past 80. And gift of longevity means the reader cannot identify the block of years where you pass on. It means you turn 82, whatever your reading tells you. It's so 82 plus 1 day or 99 years of age, because the gift of longevity, they cannot give you the bracket, the block of years where you pass on. So yeah, that was my 2 cents. So it's similar to Gigi's and yet different, but it's good news. So I'm always, I really want to share because I'm excited about this, just as I was the first day when I had my reading done. Wendy, given your 2 readings, how was that for you?
I didn't know that you could have 18. I'd have 18.
In theory,
I would totally have 18. I can't believe you've only done 2. If I were you and I owned this company, I'd have 18.
Okay, well.
But maybe you will. Maybe you'll have more. And I didn't know that what you just said is it changes, like, because each reading is, they know that the reading will be on the particular day that it happens. Yes. So when you waited those years, you shifted and you got the gift of longevity, right?
Yes.
Apparently. That's pretty neat.
I hope so. That's what.
Yeah. Yes. And I liked what you said earlier, that it's not set in stone, because not everything that my palm leaf reading said came true exactly the way they said it would.
Sure.
Because things are fluid, and it's okay. But it just gave me so much peace of mind. It just gave me so much peace of mind to see my life laid out the way they laid it out. And it explained so many things. It just made me think, I'm okay. Life is good. I'm going to be fine.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's the wisdom we can take from a reading as a guideline, and take it from there. So coming to Dave quickly, because your reading is the most recent one in our little talk here. Will everything come true? What the reading says? No. But it neither in my reading, absolutely not. But I must say the gist of it, the red thread, is correct. Like when I go back, it's like, yeah, small things or bigger things didn't come true simply because, as Wendy said, life's fluid, and every single day we'll make decisions. You turn left, you turn right, you turn, and then it's just way too complex to tell you exactly that's what's going to happen. But I think a reading, as you said, Wendy, gives you, can put you on the right trajectory, either give you peace of mind about something, and then you're like, okay, I'm safe, I'm good. And then whether a particular prediction comes true or not really doesn't bother me either. It really doesn't, because the overall impression is a good one, and it helped me over the past 7 years. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking with you. So, like I would say the major thing is that the first guy said, "Oh, you will bring this to the West," and I thought he's joking with me, because in case you haven't noticed yet, I'm not Indian, so why should I do this at all? And yet here I am talking to you. It's quite mind blowing. It really is mind blowing. Dave, maybe you want to add something to what you just said before we do the final round, especially after listening to Gigi's and Wendy's, and whose reading has been between 1 and 2, 3, 4 years ago, and mine's been 7 years ago, my first, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I think partly like what you said, anything that seems negative, I'm going to try my best to not let that negative stuff happen, right? Like there's some years where there's some health issues and kind of like Gigi said, like I'm going to get screened more or I'm going to be more
Mhm.
aware during that time period of a possible health issue.
Yes.
And then anything that's good, like it kind of reinforces like a plan that I already had for the future. So I'm going to work more towards making sure that stuff happens because now it seems like I don't know, I guess maybe it's made my destiny a little clearer and, some thoughts I had about things, I'm going to pursue a little more.
Hmm.
And there was one other thing that I thought was pretty interesting. I had another reading done from a um, person who reads auras. It was a pretty extensive. It was like an hour and a half, and there were a lot of parallels, a lot of similarities.
Hmm.
So, um, at the time, I had that one done first, and I don't know, I wasn't real sure, and I guess this one kind of reinforced it a little more and said, okay, as far as like things I'm going to do in the future, which really seemed kind of like you, where you said, I don't think I'm going to be, bringing this to the West. That wasn't on your mind when you went in.
No,
And,
absolutely not.
and both this reading and the other reading talked about me being more of a philosopher, writing books, getting into philosophy and reminding people about the past,
Hmm.
kind of as we go through this awakening process, that I'm going to help people remember what it was and not go back there. And both of the readings were, it's that seems pretty far out there for me, like something I wasn't really planning on doing. But now all of a sudden, like as opportunities come up, even in the last few months, I think, oh yeah, I could see me doing that. So
Hmm.
um, I think that's been real valuable, even though it's not been very long. Um,
Thank you. Yes.
one other quick thing, and I think,
Yes.
and I went back. And the other thing is, I waited a couple months and then went back and listened to the video again. And I
Hmm.
think that's real helpful because all of a sudden I heard things that maybe didn't make sense before. I don't know. As you change your own thinking, you go back and you hear
Yes.
something again and you say, oh, wait, I see how that could apply.
Hmm.
So, that might be something that people want to do too, is not just
Yes.
listen to it once.
No, absolutely not. You're right. I have listened. Well, I've read what I wrote down many times. Many times. Yeah, of course. I want to go back and say, well, first reading compared to the second reading, and what came true, what didn't. Yeah, many times. Of course, I can only recommend everyone to listen to it. As you change, as the years and months and years go by, you just want to go back and see, okay, this is what I was told in this age bracket. Is it there? Is it not? Is it different? What's going on? Should I do something? In your case, Gigi, you were given food recommendations.
Yes.
Again, every reading is very personalized, so not everyone gets food recommendations. Really, not everyone gets a diet, so what to eat, what not to eat. People think it's always the same, but it's not. It's very person specific. So it apparently was very important for you to hear what you
Yes.
need to eat and
Yes.
what you should not eat. It's very important.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it was a good chunk, because I was your moderator. So I remember I was the person doing your reading, or moderating the reading itself, because I'm not a reader. I have no idea how to do it. But I remember it was a good chunk of your reading was about food, what you should and should not. So I guess you needed to hear it from a stranger, an Indian guy, kicking your butt, so that in every case, I gotta focus here. And yeah, absolutely. If the powerful part of this is, at least to me, when a total stranger, somebody in India who has no clue about me at all, tells you something, and what you heard before is accurate, and all of a sudden, like, oh my God, if he tells me I should drink more pomegranate juice or whatever, then it might be, you might listen to it more than if your grandma tell you that, or your best friend, or your husband or wife, and like, whatever. So yeah, anyway, every reading is very personalized, and you get what you need
To hear.
That's important. Yeah, it's very important. Some people hear a lot about their kids and grandchildren, a lot, because that's what's important to them, not their own life. That's not so important to them. So the reading focus on that. It's just amazing, because I've been in many readings as a moderator, and just to see the energies and how intuitive it is and how they go into it is just an amazing experience indeed. So maybe some final words. The one gold nugget you got out of it, and if somebody's hesitant, what would you tell them? Because I know you have referred people to us, so that means you've been talking about your experience to other people. So your gold nugget that you got out of this, and what would you tell a person to get a reading? Like if they're hesitant, they heard about it, they've never heard of it. So that's your chance to share your experience, your wisdom with people, to guide them to palm leaf readings, to Nadi Astrology, which is also known as Nadi Astrology or Nadi Reading, because Nadi, that little thing, is called Nadi. So the dried palm leaf is Nadi, N-A-D-I. And Nadi also means seeker. So we're all seekers. And Nadi also means pulse, heartbeat. So it comes full circle. We use the literal name Indian palm leaf reading, but it's also known as Nadi Astrology or Nadi Reading. Closing words, Wendy, your gold nugget, and what would you tell people to guide them to this?
So my golden nugget is, I just felt better after my reading. Like it shifted me a lot, because there were pieces of my life that it explained to me. Like I said, that my relationship link is weak. So that's something that I know is weak, and that's something that I know I have to work on. But it changed that before that I didn't have that information, and any information I have about me, I can do better and be better. And so it just made me feel, so much better. And then the way it laid things out and showed me, it kind of showed me how my life was going to be, but I have power over whether it is like that or whether it isn't. And sometimes they said, be careful of this, watch out for this, or this is going to, a relationship's going to happen at this period of time, or watch out because there could be problems in this area. I mean, that's golden. We all need that. And I've had plenty of readings over the years from various people. I've had astrological readings before, and normally the astrological readings, they kind of confirmed that I'm following my intuition, I'm doing okay. They usually had things to do about the past, and there were some recipes for the future. But this one was the best one. It's the best one. It had the most pieces of me in it, so I can be better. And it just helped me relax. And a big thing was, when I had my first reading, they were talking about my brother, and my brother had cancer. And they talked about him in the future. And I said, wait a minute, he's going to be alive then? And they said, yes. And they went on and they talked about him. And that, I called him the next day and I told him, you're going to be here because it says you are. He doesn't necessarily buy all of this stuff, but I was so excited, and it gave me so much peace of mind. And he didn't make it all the way as long as they said he would, but he made it longer, and it made it easier for me. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing this personal story with us. Dave, how about you?
Yeah, I think, there was a bunch of things that I knew, but this somehow made them fit together. okay, I still do not have good relationships with my daughters or my brother, but I have very good relationship with my parents. And so whenever they said, well, you have your relationship area is weak energy, what they said was that there was a generational block. And when they described this generational block, it was because I just had one brother, so there was like two male energies, and my daughters, just two daughters. And they were saying that this was a generational block, and that that's why. And actually, both my daughters and my brother have never been married, have not had steady relationships, have not, and they're saying that this is all connected in this
Yes.
generational block. And, you know, it's exciting the fact that they're saying, okay, you can help remove that. They told me that I had already cleared my past life karmas by good deeds that I had done in this life. But they said that I had, you know, present life karmas, I guess you would call it, to overcome. And that was this generational block. So, you know, it just didn't make sense to me before. And now somehow it sort of makes sense, right?
Yes.
When they put it that way, because I'm like, well, I'm fine with my parents. Why is my brother and my daughter's relationship not well? So, you know, I'm going to work on it, doing the pujas, and, you know, they're saying that those will help remedy that. They also gave me some specific information on setting up a trust that would do good work and have it in my daughter's name, so that both of my daughters' names, so that all the people who benefit, like if I'm going to help children or whatever, all those good deeds would pass through to energies to my daughters to help them, and it would help heal them too. So now I kind of feel responsible to do all this stuff to help all these other people that I really didn't think I had any control over. So that part's kind of exciting, I think. And it makes me feel empowered that I can, you know, do something to help their relationships, not just their relationships with me, but also their relationships with others.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for bringing up the generational block. It's quite a powerful thing to know. Many people have that. And then once they hear it, you can see the clicking noise in their mind saying, now I understand. And it helps. It really does help. So thank you so much for sharing it. Gigi.
Yes.
The teacher gets the last word to share her golden nugget. And what is it that you can tell other people when it comes to getting a reading done?
Okay, of course, it's very obvious. The biggest nugget that I got from my reading was the fact that I had a second lease on life. I got a new life. And actually, speaking about that, my siblings are very, very grateful that if I did not do it, I would be gone by now. So part of my reading was also a suggestion that I had to share my experience every chance I get. And that's exactly what I have been doing. I always leave comments on the website that there's a compelling reason for everybody to do this, even just for once in their life, to do it, because you will never know what you're gonna get. And like me, I got another life. And I'm also even planning to do a second one, because I hear you guys, you got second. I gotta do a second one. I gotta do a second one in 2021.
Okay,
so
there
I will
you go.
know if the pandemic situation will figure in my trajectory next year. That would be interesting to know. So I am so grateful to the Institute for having facilitated my reading, and that I'm so grateful. And with the pujas, it helped me dealing with my cancer journey. My side effects were so minimal, and I didn't even get depressed. Of course, I got support from people who loves me, you know. So you know that, Dr. Q. So
Yes.
more power to the institute, more power to Indian, like Dave and Wendy. You know, we're all in this together. It's like, yeah, hey, we did it, and we're gonna keep doing it. Thank you.
Good. We have to thank you, Gigi, for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate that. And
You're welcome.
God willing, we'll get to see one another at the Expo again.
Yes.
I doubt it'll be 2021, but hopefully 2022 at the very latest. We'll get to reconvene, and yeah, maybe Dave can find his way to LA then too, to this biggest spiritual expo of North America, I think it is. And it's always at the Hilton LAX. Sometime in February, early February, mid-February, something like that. It changes its time, but just Google it, Conscious Life Expo. We've been going there for many years, and that's how I saw Wendy for the first time when she came over, and Gigi came over last year. And yeah, so wonderful people. It's just a big marketplace to explore and learn things about spirituality, and also nutrition, and health, and healing. There's many healers there. So it's quite a fascinating place to be at, and it's very intense. It's very long days. And I don't get to explore it as much as I would like to, because we're pinned down to the booth, and every day we got talks and this and that, the other. But if you come as a visitor, then it's quite a wonderful thing to do. Wendy, Gigi, Dave, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing your story.
You're welcome.
Your personal journey, and helping other people find their way to get a palm reading done, because you never know, it might save your life, as Gigi would say. It might indeed save your life. Yeah, absolutely. It's quite humbling experience by listening to your story. Thank you so much. Much love and light to everyone. Have a beautiful evening, and I'm very much looking forward to talking with you again, and hopefully to see you again too. Namaste. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.